So Razine, like, what's the deal with this beat? Like, how do you even think about sampling the song?
I heard this song and I sampled it really not with the intention of making a Jersey beat. I just kind of was fucking around, and in my process, I saw that this pattern, the Jersey pattern, was just hitting. At the beginning, it wasn't even like that. Like, I was making like some Lucky or like whatever, just some normal trap shit.
So like that initial sample, like right there, like let's see how they hit. Yeah, let's see how that sounds. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the beginning part of the song.
Yeah, I know the song. Yeah. So is that the OG pitch of the initial sample?
No, I pitched it down 3 semitones. So right here, that's where I pitched it down. I also sped it up. So when you drag and drop the song, it's just gonna put the song on, not put it on grid. I think the original BPM was like 90 something. I forgot. But you basically put up this BPM to what you want, right? And that sample, this sample right here, it would stretch out. If you were pulling something, it would literally stretch it. And that would throw it off beat. You don't want that. It's gonna usually come on resample right here. You see that? Like when you drag a beat or a sample on, it always starts on this resample.
Yeah.
So you want to change that to auto. That'll make it basically lock on the grid. Right here, you click this button. This is the difference between stretching it versus like actually chopping the sample up.
So you essentially chopped it to a loop first. So it looks like it's about, what is it, an 8-bar loop that you got right there.
Yeah.
See how you don't even notice it transitions, right? That's what the first step of looping is, to find that, right? The only reason it has that smidget is because that's just the arrangement. Don't even worry about that smidget after the 9.
Yeah, that's just because the way I had the beat drop in was also kind of coming as from. If I wanted to, I could really bring this back and have it drop.
Exactly, yeah. That's arranging. So you basically got that shit on the grid.
Yeah.
And then you clicked auto, and then you sped that bitch up.
I sped it up. Yep. I made this chop. So it's like that Clams Casino kind of vibe, you know. I take part of it out and put in the actual sample, but yeah, you can see it's basically.
So you put the sample in the background
while it's playing.
How do you process that part then?
Actually, a pretty basic ass configuration. Valhalla vintage reverb. But I use this a lot for when I make beats. One of my favorite like reverb sounds. Fruity limiter because I sidechained it. This is how I sidechain. However you guys want to sidechain, it all basically does the same thing. This is just what I do, what I'm comfortable with. There's many ways to do it. I sidechained it to the kick though. So when the kick hits, the sample is gonna dip. It's gonna come down in volume. It's almost like making a cone shape for the kick to puncture through. See, so how you kind of gives it a little bounce. This is without it though. Yeah. So kick hits, but it's flat. It's like the sample is flat through. Now when you turn it on, it gives it that bounce to it.
It's bouncing with the kick.
Yeah. Wherever you put the kick track on, you put the fruity limiter on the sound that you want to be sidechained. This scenario, I wanted it on the sample. So I put the limiter on the sample, which was on track 1, and my kick is on track 4. You go on the kick, you right click on the sound. So if I go over here, this is the kick track. I click right here, you go sidechain to this track or this track only. Yeah, I'm doing multiple tracks, so I did to this track. If I were to do it here, that's how it would go.
And make sure the mix knob is just at 0. You don't need the mix knob to be up when you're sidechain.
On the limiter itself, go to comp, you sit compressor, sidechain, you just put it up. You know, it's only going to go to the kick, right? Because that's the only thing you have sidechained. If you, let's say, you had a kick and a bass, you could switch this from 1, and then hypothetically there would be a 2 there. And then you play with the threshold, so right here, so if I put this down, see how it's too much, right? I could do the length of it, or shorten it. So it's very spiky. You literally can see the spikes. So.
And make sure you turn on the ratio knob or nothing's going to happen.
See, it's actually doing the opposite now.
That's actually interesting. I might try to fuck with that.
Reverb and EQ. This is what the EQ is. Very simple. I cut out a bunch of low ends. The sample itself, though, I can show you from where I chopped it. Basically cut 5 parts of this song and loop it, right? So this is where it came up from the song. Your part. We got this one. So remember, the chop is right here, guys. Right there. Then this sound. That little U part, and then this clip. Alright. So I literally cut another part of that clip. So instead of the U, I did a little portion before that. And it's all about having the ear. You could really chop, I could hypothetically chop any 4 things in here. It could sound good, it could not sound good, but it's all about the selection. This is the last portion of it. So there's technically 5 pieces I sampled from this. Straight, I actually took 3 samples from this section. And that is what essentially resulted into what this is right now. And then it loops. That's it. Like literally at the intro of the song, they have a little harp here. Layered it on top of it. Sounds like this. As you can tell, I did pitch it up. Pitch it up an octave. It's on track 3. Let's see what effects I put on it. Same shit, fruity EQ. Took some low ends, really brightened up that high end sound because I pitched it up. Put some reverb on it. You guys can look at the presets. Fruity limiter because when the kick comes in, it's gonna do the same thing. And actually, when I was making this loop, I had this playing the whole time because I was making the beat with the intention that whatever I chopped up from here was gonna be playing in layer with this. So my sound selection was as a result of making this sample sound good with this. Like I said earlier, if I were to just take 4 different samples, it might sound good, but I couldn't like just drop the sample in there.
So essentially, guys, you ever guys just know about how fucking chords work, right? He kept the chords in from the OG song. So he's adding a top layer, like a top melody, which is this chop. And that's like the lead essentially.
Yes.
And then it combines in this beautiful thing. When you have chords going, you can always just ride a repetitive melody over chords. They'll always sound good if you have a good set of chords. You put more chords in that
I
bitch,
actually
right?
did, yeah. First, Zenology right here. That's the sound. Literally saucing you guys up right now. It was these chords originally that started. And then I added that. It sounded flat, like I wanted a little bit brighter.
It's plain, yeah.
It sounded black. Even this note right here, like this little G. Making good chords, what I've realized is really finding those harmonic keys. You have your basic standard chord, right? Like right here. But if you add like a fifth to it, which is like this sound, I would kind of add a little brightness, and then you could add another one on top of it, which adds a little bit more brightness. Or I could bring this down to. See how it gives it
changes the whole mood.
Completely different. So I found that this one was best, right? You know, I go in draw mode, and I just start clicking in random shit half of the time, and then taking stuff out to just find the right sound. And at this point, these chords are, this is working really well, but these chords aren't still hitting enough. So I layered it. All I did was literally just layer it. So this is the second sound. Some crazy shit right here. It's a synth poly key.
Yeah.
SLGN60 Synth 5.
That's an emulation from like an old synth.
Yeah.
Keyboard.
Turn that on real quick. You can see.
Oh.
You get that little like. These are basic chords, right? Because those other ones are pretty complex. This really kind of ties it off the whole thing. They're literally the same chords. I'm actually following this.
It's just that he doesn't have as many accent chords or accent notes on them. You know what I'm saying?
It was just these 3
and
these 3.
He just took the simple version.
And then,
so he's keeping everything in line, but he's adding variation at points that he can to make it feel more alive, right? So that's really cool. And then essentially you just put the 808, right? Is that the next thing?
The next thing is right here, the 808.
Does that follow these chords?
It basically does, yeah. It stays on the root note for the most part.
Yeah, because that's how Jersey usually is, right?
Yes. So this is following the kick pattern. I don't think this should come to no surprise of what sound I'm using. Spins 808.
So that is following the chord. So the main notes are C sharp and C, right? And then he has that little like variation, like little thing he has at the end. Which so if you look, there's gonna be a C sharp in there, right?
Yep, these are the root notes.
If you're ever confused, just simplify it to that. It usually will work.
You follow the root notes. That's the best way. This is literally the easiest way. Follow the kick pattern. It's usually how Jersey beats go.
Oh, and that kick layers. That kick just layers right on it.
And when you hear it with that chop, that sample chop, that kick really shines through. If I were to take that and all this, let's say I'm gonna take off all these limiters, you guys are gonna hear the fucking difference. You can't even hear the kick anymore. This is a really good way also to make your kick sound punchier.
Making your kick louder is not always better.
It's actually not even the loudest sound in here.
It should always be one of the loudest sounds, but it doesn't have to be the loudest song.
You don't literally have to put the mixer up to do that. It's actually the last thing you should be doing.
Especially in Jersey and house. In trap, you can get away with it a little more, but...
Then we got the hi-hats. Super simple. I've actually really noticed that they don't really use hi-hats on a lot of Jersey type songs. It's pretty open, but I thought I had a roll in there.
It's almost like an accent or a percussion element, not more so the actual hat. Of
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next sound, snaps. Classic with all Jersey songs. Right? Like, that's all it is, just a snap.
Ooh, you put 3 at the end.
Yeah, and then the laser sound. This laser sound.
Ooh, that's that Detroit shit. That's that Detroit shit.
That's the Detroit sound because we are from Detroit. I always try to incorporate this sound in a lot of my music. This is like a FX, like a sound effect sound.
What's generic?
Jersey. Actually, this is a sound clip that already does that stutter in there. Straight up, I like that stutter, that a part is like part of the whole sound clip. When the full beat drops. So that's the snare you hear. Really getting good with making simple stuff sound good is like the key to having artists get on your tracks. You start making stuff too complex, bro. It's gonna be hard for people to fill in vocals with the snaps.
Oh, you added the stomp too.
Yeah, it's like a UK, like Central C type music, drill beats. They use this in a lot of drill beats, so I added that sound. This is not following the kick though. A lot of times they do. I do this pattern in a lot of my songs too. And then the crash, because you always gotta have a crash come in just to get shit rocking.
The very bottom.
Yeah, and the open hat. So the crash hits on the ones. If I go to the crash, that just hits on the ones, right? Very simple. And then the open hat. So that follows the kick pattern. I literally copied that kick pattern and just took stuff out. It was literally deleting stuff.
That's usually the move.
And then the gunshot sound. This is like Jersey coded. Come on, like, they gotta have that sound. Most time people delay them. Like you hear the difference in the quietness. I just did it with the velocity.
Still the same.
It literally does the same thing.
That really glues everything together.
That's what gives it the Jersey vibe. I think this right here is what sets that as the Jersey sound. So if I were to play everything now. So what you're hearing right here is basically what you're hearing right here. Fast forward it right here, all you'd be hearing is that sample on top of it, which gives it the difference from what you're listening here to that. My mixing, I've learned that mixing sounds and getting sounds, I just play with these knobs straight up and play with velocities a lot. You know, sometimes you want a certain sound and it will clash and you will have to do EQs, but for the most part, if it sounds good, if it hits and punches right, you don't have to do too much EQing. Sometimes EQing will actually lose effect on the sound.
I would say this, the general rule is use the gain knobs until you can't anymore. If you can do things with gain, do it with gain first, trust. It'll always sound better.
Literally, sidechain all the melodic sounds. Yeah, and I took the lows out, so 6 and 7. Limiter,
literally not even EQ.
I didn't even EQ them. That shows you, bro, that you can literally do this shit without having much of a mixing knowledge. You heard the final song, so you guys let me know what you think. It took me like 6 years of like doing this shit to figure out that you don't need to do all that. This is the sauce, bro. Like this is the sauce.
The sauce. I guess the last thing is just how you arrange that bitch.
Obviously, sample comes in. I want it to come in hard. Most Jersey songs, hood trap type music, they usually play the sample and then the beat just rolls into it hard as hell. If I wanted to, I could just have it come off like that. Can't you see that? And then it hits right like that. I just had the kick playing on this. Didn't want the snare, didn't want any of that roll. This is like, in my vision, like the pre-hook, right? Pre-hook, your bridge, whatever. And then boom, right, all this right here. This is how I imagined it as to be the hook. I duplicated it twice because I pitched one of them down. This is just an octave up from that. So if I mute it.
Okay, that's hard.
And then I pitch it down.
Hard as fuck.
I use it as like a transition into the verse part.
Right.
Because then I take all the samples off and I just have that playing. And then it goes into just that sample, right? And then I pitch it up an octave right here. I added a stomp sound. I usually go 8 bars. Just when it comes to arranging, I usually look at things in 8 bar sequences. This verse is 16 bars. I copied this section at the beginning over, and then I started taking stuff out as it came in.
This is the part where he laid it over.
He's singing, laying on top of his voice.
This is kind of like a bridge, like just a pause at break of the song.
I basically went like this, duplicated, and did that. I changed some stuff in there just to give it like a second difference, alteration to the hook. Kind of keep your ears entertained,
The
right?
second drop always gotta be different.
A little different. It keeps your ears entertained.
The second drop always gotta be the best drop.
Right. Literally. So that's the whole beat, straight up.
Yeah.
That's how I made the beat breakdown.
Yeah.
You guys use that sauce though.
Thanks,
honestly.
Professor.
And join the X Vision Discord.
This whole session will be in the Discord.
Anything
the sounds, the session, and so you guys can just look at it for yourself and learn how to do it.
We do giveaways too, so like templates for how you hear our music or you hear some artists that we work with. If you want that sound, we give aways. We do giveaways like whoever has the best song at the end of the month, the best beat, or we give templates out. We're here to provide for you guys, so join up. come in, talk to us.
Yeah, the mixing tutorial of how we mix the song to the vocals and the beat will come out next week or sometime after this. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned. We're about to be breaking down a beat every week on this bit. So stay tuned.